Our story comes from 1 Samuel chapter 17, when David defeated Goliath. It begins with the Israelites facing off the Philistines. The Israelites had their soldiers lined up, ready to fight, but then a champion emerged from the opposing side, Goliath of Gath. He was an incredibly strong man who stood over 9 feet tall. Setting himself in front of the Philistines, he called out to the ranks of Israel.
Why have you lined yourselves up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and you the servants of Saul? Choose for yourself a man, and let him come down to me. If he's able to fight with me and strike me down, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and strike him down, then you will be our servants.
The Israelites were terrified. Then the Philistines said,
I defy the battle lines of Israel this day. Give me a man and let us fight together.
In that time, David was the youngest son of Jesse, whose 3 eldest, Eliab, Abinadab, and Shammah, left to fight as soldiers in Saul's army. David had been going back and forth from being an armor-bearer for Saul to shepherding his father's sheep. For 40 days, Goliath stepped forward every morning to see who would confront him, but no Israelite stepped forward. David's family lived pretty far from the war zone, so Jesse sent David with food for the soldiers and told him to check up on his 3 brothers, then return with news of their situation. So, David rose up early in the morning and left the flock with a keeper of sheep. He carried away the provisions and did as Jesse had commanded him. When he came to the encampment, the army was marching out to the battle line. David left his things with the keeper of equipment and ran to the battle line to greet his brothers. As he was speaking with them, the champion stepped forward and spoke the same challenge as he did every morning. And as he spoke, David heard his words. When all Israel's soldiers saw the man, they fled from him and were very afraid. David questioned the soldiers who were speaking amongst themselves.
What will happen to the man that succeeds in fighting this Philistine and ending his defiance of Israel? Who is this Philistine to defy the armies of the living God?
And the soldiers spoke up, saying,
The king will surely reward the successor with great honor and favor.
But David's oldest brother heard him speaking to the soldiers and became angry.
What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be taking care of the sheep? I know about your pride and deceit. You just wanted to see the battle.
What did I do? I was only asking a question.
He went to other soldiers to ask the same question, to which he received the same response. David's question was reported to King Saul, and the king sent for him.
Don't worry about this Philistine. I'll go fight him.
Don't be ridiculous. There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy. He's been a man of war since his youth.
But David persisted.
I have been taking care of my father's flock. When a lion or a bear comes to steal a lamb, I go after it and club it and rescue the lamb from its mouth. If an animal turns on me, I catch it by its jaw and club it. I have done this to both lions and bears, and I'll do it to this Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine.
Saul finally gave in.
All right. May the Lord be with you. But before you go, take my armor.
Saul offered his own armor for David, but
I can't go in these. I'm not used to wearing them.
Instead, he went and picked 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into his shepherd's bag. Armed with only his staff and sling, he started to cross the valley to fight the Philistine. Goliath walked out towards David with his shield-bearer ahead of him, sneering in contempt.
Am I a dog that you should come at me with a stick? Come over here, and I shall give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field.
You have come to me with sword, spear, and the javelin. But I have come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of armies whom you have defied. Today the Lord will conquer you. Then I'll give your men to the birds and the beasts, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. And everyone assembled here will know that the Lord rescues his people, but not with sword and spear. This is the Lord's battle, and he will give you to us.
As Goliath moved closer to attack, David quickly ran out to meet him. Reaching into his shepherd's bag and taking out a stone, he hurled it with his sling and hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in. Goliath stumbled and fell face down to the ground. David triumphed over the Philistine with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword.